Listen, guys, listen. Welcome. Phenomenal morning. I am your host, Sean Wright East. This is the Breakfast with the Brand, and I am, of course, joined by the most eminent, prominent Junior Frederick. Junior, how are you doing, brother? Phenomenal morning to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Phenomenal morning. Feeling absolutely amazing. How about you?
Absolutely phenomenal as well. No complaints whatsoever. We are on IG as well, right? So we're on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, all across all social medias. We have Dr. Bell Campbell and iTown in IG, right? So we got a nice little collective this morning. How's everybody doing? Speak back to me if you got any questions when it comes to branding and building that business, that brand, and putting a zero behind your number. Let me know what that looks like for you. What do we have today? What do we have planned today, Junior?
Man, Sean, there's a lot. There's actually a lot going on today, brother. We have a couple questions from actually yesterday, and then I also have a few that we're gonna get into. So, before we really get into it, I want to sort of give the listeners a little preview of what we spoke about yesterday, which is sort of knowing who you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? Knowing who you are as the brand. So everybody knows, or they should know, that branding, it has to do with you. Just like your name says, Sean, you brand you and
Brand
not what
you,
you
not
do.
what you do. That's right. Brand
Yeah,
you. You are the brand. Brand yourself, scale yourself.
that's right. That's right. But somebody asked the question, and I find it very interesting as well.
I think that was Bobby, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I actually want to kick off with that question because that is a very, very powerful preface to everything we'll be talking about today. So Bobby says, how do you begin branding you before you even know who you are?
Wow. Okay. So good morning. Good morning. Latricia Townsend is with us today. Dr. Bell Campbell is with us as well on IG. Share this out, guys. Share this to anybody. Share this to your networks because this will help them grow their business. Right. So same thing on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. Share this out to your network because this will help you. All right. So how do you brand you? Phenomenal morning, Kimberly. How do you brand you if you don't know yourself? That's a great question. That's a great question. When I was young, I used to look at myself on a flat screen like a mirror. And I still kind of wondered how I really looked. Like because you can't feel how you look. You don't really know. You have an idea, you have a resemblance on a mirror. From a mirror's perspective, you have a resemblance of how you look. But if you really try to picture yourself in your mind, you can't do it. You know the mirror's image. If you try to see yourself in a mirror's image, you close your eyes and you try to imagine what you look like, the only thing you can come up with is a mirror's image. That's why they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but watch this. So is your brand. So is your brand. So when you brand you, you have an intention. You have an intention, something that you would like the viewers, right? We design the customer experience. So we have an experience that we would like for our customers to have if all things are done the right way. We design an experience. That experience is not always translated though into their reality, right? Because sometimes we put something forth. You ever give somebody a compliment and they take it as an insult?
Yes.
On IG, you ever give somebody a compliment and they didn't receive it as a compliment? You ever said something to somebody and they interpreted it a different way? Well, this is you too. This is you. This is your brand. This is your language. This is your body language. This is all of those things, right? So when we intend to begin a brand, this is why it's so important that we hire and bring in someone else because we can't see ourselves. We can't experience ourselves from inside the bottle. It's not possible. Someone on the outside has to be able to read the wrapper. There's our ideas of who we are and how we appear, but then there's also the reality of the experience from someone else. That's why when we get dressed in the morning, we turn around and look at somebody that we're moving with and we say, how do I look? We know what we put on from the inside. We know what we put on. But sometimes from the outside, it's like, does this really rock? Is this really put together well? Right. So there's your intention, there's your idea, but then you also want to have other people look in on your brand, look in on you to help you to curate an experience when other people see you. If that wasn't true, then nobody in fashion would have a stylist. Nobody in fashion would have a stylist. Nobody would have a listening board. No one would go to listening parties. They wouldn't do preview shows of movies. Everybody would just create it and release it, create it and release it. And that's just not the case. Everybody has a sounding board, a coach, and a scheduled interior benchmark process that they go through. So that's how you begin. You begin to brand you by having someone else say how you really look as opposed to how you think.
Right. I'm wondering how much of that brand is perception, and can one solely build a brand? Like when you think about it,
No.
and I know you, and I'm not talking about from the perspective of a coach and a coachee. Like we know that you need a coach to build a brand, but a brand you put the image out there, right?
Yes.
And you have to get some sort of buy-in from the marketplace to
Absolutely.
confirm so that's what I mean when I say can one solely build a brand.
Not at all. Not at all. So listen, when we began, just to give you some background on the fact that it's impossible, and it's so important. This is going to really help you guys. I began to go live at a very crucial time in 2020, around March. I began to go live and watch the feedback loop. So I'm going live to help people, cope and deal with the stress and the situations. And someone from online told me, someone on Facebook that watched my live told me, "Hey, Sean, you got to turn your camera around because everything you're writing on the whiteboard, it sounds good. We're listening. It's good, but you need to turn the camera around because we can't see it. We see it in reverse." So in my idea, I was creating a phenomenal experience. I'm leading. I'm growing people. I'm helping. And I was. However, my words were written in backwards. And it was the feedback from the people, right? Can you create a brand by yourself? No, you can't. The person told me, Sean, you gotta turn your camera around because I didn't know to do that. So when I turned my camera around, the experience was enhanced. So I wasn't in my head. I went live. And because I went live and I made some mistakes and people were able to see it, they were able to help me to curate a better experience. Now let's fast forward a little bit after that. Month or two after that, I'm going live regularly now. I know to turn the camera around. So we having a better experience. And people are telling me, Sean, we need more. We need more. So I said, okay. And I created the Leadership Leverage Executive Coaching Community. Pay very close attention. This is how you build this. So I brought people into the community, the Leadership Leverage, and then they told me, Sean, how do we do what you do? This would be a better experience if we knew how to do what you do. And then we would be able to leave job space that was tumultuous. We would be able to add a zero to our revenue. We would be able to do all of these different things that you're doing. I said, wow, okay. So, that's when I began to listen really critically to what exactly they needed. And from their input and what the communication was, I realized, okay, they have the education, they have the expertise, and they have the experience. What they don't have is a personal brand and business acumen for an entrepreneur business. And they don't have a personal brand. And that's where the idea for Branded Like a Leader began. It was all informed and cultivated from the audience. It wasn't of my own volition.
Nice. Sean, I think we actually overdue for a break, so let's go to a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk more about building your brand.
Just know, guys, that you will not be able to do it by yourself. So share this out, have someone come in, help you, because you have to have someone from the outside look in. You cannot see yourself from inside the bottle.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes.
All right. Welcome back. I know we had some jump offs and some pivots in the beginning about how important it is for someone else to view you, right? So just think about this before you leave the house. When you got your child there, your spouse there, before you leave the house, you might lay out your clothes, you get ready, you permed and primped up, and you ready to go. You do a little pump up or whatever the case may be. You look at your stuff, you like, yeah, it looks phenomenal. You put it on, and then what do you ask? How do I look? you ask, how do I look? And then the person that you're speaking to tells you, hopefully they tell you the truth, what's wrong about it. You need to straighten this out, pull this down, push that back. My wife always tells me, she's always like the positioning, there's always something about the people around you that can help you tighten up your appearance, tighten up your brand, and tighten up your leadership. So yeah, that's the answer to that question, Junior. Where were we at now?
Yeah, that's a phenomenal answer, and I'm hoping that Bobby gets an opportunity to see this afterwards.
Yep.
My next question though it's off of that topic per se, but it's very important as well.
Okay.
So I've been getting a lot of questions from different professionals with regards to value. So how does one determine value? I mean, a lot of people, they want to step into entrepreneurship and they want to step into, let's say, the field of coaching or consulting or some sort of service-based field, but they're not quite sure how to price, their product, how to package their product and put a price on that. So Sean, I know you're gonna get in, you're gonna get into it, but let's break it down. Number one, how does one determine value? And I don't mean the value of a product. I mean their value as a professional in terms of what they can bring to the market.
Very good. So I use the three E's, right? We use frameworks for everything. So I always look at the three E's for your value and how you can weigh yourself and quantify yourself. So we're talking about pricing, guys. I got a couple questions on IG too, so I'm going to go to the IG questions after this. But the way you quantify your value is to look at your three E's. Number one, what is your education level? What is your education level? Think about how the market values and the market places a premium on high levels of education. If you got a seventh grade education and someone else applying for the same job has a bachelor's degree, then the bachelor's degree holder is going to get more because they're going to be seen as more valuable. They're going to be seen as being able to bring more competence to the conversation. Unless the seventh grade graduate has 20 years of experience. So that's the second E. The first one is education. The first one is education. The second one is experience. Now, if the person who graduated or the person who dropped out in the seventh grade has 20 years of experience, they'll get paid more than the person who has the bachelor's degree because they have more experience than education. And then expertise. So if you have a third person who comes in, let's say this job is for SHRM, human resources. And the third person who applies for the job is a certified SHRM PR. He's a professional recruiter. And this is what he does. This is what he's trained for. And this is what he's certified in. Now, that throws a volleyball into the entire conversation because you've got someone with no education, but high levels of experience. You've got someone with no experience, but medium to high levels of education. But then you've got the expert, right? So those three evaluation standards should help you to see whether you're valuable or not in this market. I believe that all children are, the saying all people are created equal. That's true, except in business. All children of God are created equal, except in business, except in value, except in branding. Benny, how you doing, brother? We got Benny Salas up on the IG too. So anyway, let's get back to it. The ways you quantify value is through your education, experience, and expertise. Education is highly valuable. Experience is more valuable, and expertise is the most valuable.
That is pretty powerful. Can you define expertise a
Of
little
course.
more?
Of
You say it's
course.
the most valuable. Yes.
So expertise is being qualified in one singular thing, being extremely qualified in one particular thing, knowing where to put the X. Knowing where to put the X. So there's a story. I'm going to tell you the story, right? So there's a nuclear power plant. The nuclear power plant is experiencing shortages. The nuclear power plant is experiencing shortages. They don't know what's the problem with all of the gauges and the valves, and they're controlling the nuclear power for the entire community, the entire, let's say the zip code. Every zip code has one of these power plants. And if something goes wrong, it will shut down the entire thing, right? So they call in an expert. They can't figure it out for 2 weeks. They call in an expert. An expert comes in with a clipboard for 1 day, right? He comes in.
Hey guys, you may have lost Sean for a little while there. But yeah, we were talking about expertise, right? So in terms of the expertise, Sean was basically saying that the expertise is knowing where to put the X. So this is where do you put the X as far as it relates to the solution. So how deep of knowledge do you actually possess when it comes to the subject matter that you're speaking about? Right? So I believe he might actually still be on IG. Let's see. All right, so he's coming back in a minute. But like I was saying, so if you're an expert in a particular niche, right? If you're an expert in a particular niche, then you
There
have
we
what
go.
we call
There
special
we go.
knowledge in that niche.
Can you hear me
Oh, here
now?
we go. Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, great. So listen, guys, you got to know tech. You got to know tech. Some things happen. So watch this. The expert comes in. The expert listens for one day. He takes his stethoscope. He puts his stethoscope around a couple different things. He's walking around with a clipboard and one pen, one piece of paper on a clipboard. And they're like, who is this guy? What is he doing? And he's listening to different valves and different gauges. He's walking around like a doctor would and saying, very interesting. Okay, this looks nice. I understand. And he comes in the next day with a fat marker. One of those fat markers. So he takes the fat marker, he walks over to one valve, and he puts an X. Boom. And he says, replace the valve in here. And he leaves. They're like, who does this guy think he is? He's crazy. We tested everything before he came. They replaced the valve and boom. The generator starts to work again. Everything is working perfectly. They're like, okay, wow, that's okay. That's great. That's great. Now I wonder what the number is going to be. That's what they're worried about next, right? I wonder what the price is going to be. Think about expertise. Think about what you know how to do. I wonder what the number is going to be. They get an invoice a week later. The invoice says $30,000. And they're like, whoa, hold on. He was only here for one day. He came in one day. He came in a little bit late, like after lunch. He looked around looking real slick with his little stethoscope and talking about with his clipboard and his pen. How in God's name do we get an invoice for $30,000? So the chairman calls the consultant and says, hey, I think there's a mistake here. We've got an invoice for $30,000. Is there an extra zero? Is this supposed to be $3,000? And the consultant says, no. He says, well, can you please break this down for me? He said, listen. He said, all you did was put an X. He said, all you did here was put an X. Explain the $30,000. The consultant says, I charged you $1 for the X. I charged you $29,999 for all of the years that it took me to acquire the knowledge and experience to know where to put the X. That's an expert. An expert comes in when it's a crucial moment, when it's a crisis, when your business isn't working, when your life is in shambles, when your bank account is corrupt and disrupted, right? When your life is upside down, when your credit is upside down, an expert comes in and gives you one thing to do, to fix it, and charges you 6 or 7 figures to do that. And you say to yourself, well, wow, he turned my life around. He did change everything, but he only said one thing. I got 2 master's degrees on the wall. I'm in 2 doctorates. I've written 2 books. I've been all across the world speaking. I've seen all kinds of business industries and seen all kinds of situations. Multiple entrepreneurs helped multiple people go from 0 to 6 figures in less than a year and change their lives, change their businesses. You're going to tell me how to set the price? That makes no sense. And people wonder what the number is and how is the number what the number is. The education you see on the wall was multiple 6 figures. So if you want, I'm sure you don't really want me to charge you what the number is, like what the value is, because the value is more that I said before I even became public. I said I'm going to put $250,000 in my head. That quarter is now turned into 3 quarters. I've put at least $750,000 in training and high level education in my head. So when someone says, oh, it's $50,000, that's too big of a price. I say, no, it's not too big of a price. I'm the wrong kind of consultant for you. You're looking for someone to coach you. You're looking for someone to hopefully be able to help you. As a matter of fact, you probably want a coach that you're going to be able to coach. You want to tell the coach how to coach you. You want to tell the trainer how to train you. You can't tell the expert how to be an expert. And you can't tell the consultant how to consult. You can just choose whether you're valuable enough. That's all you can do. You understand? Many people think the Maybach isn't a multiple 6-figure car. Oh, well, the Maybach is overpriced. No, you undervalue yourself. You don't see yourself as being worthy of being in the Maybach. The Maybach is usually set very low for the experience that you receive. The question is, how do you perceive yourself? Are you worthy of buying a $500,000 car, sitting in a $500,000 car? Is that your value? Do you perceive yourself? Some people will say, a Rolex is overpriced. The question is not, is the Rolex overpriced? The question is, do you see yourself as being valuable enough to put on a $50,000 watch? So, oh, I would never wear anything like that. Okay, that's self-perception though. It's the same thing as living in $1 million home. Some people live in $20 million homes. You know what's the difference? The market value isn't different. The self-perception is different. How do you value yourself? 9 times out of 10, this is what happens. The more you value yourself, the more you invest in yourself. The more you invest in yourself, the more valuable you become. The more valuable you become, the higher prices you can charge. The higher prices you can charge, the more successful your business is. But you can't do any of that if you don't perceive yourself as worthy. That's how it begins. Okay, so Junior, I hope I answered that question. I want to answer a question on IG real quick because I got 2 of them. And let me go to Queen A. He says, I'm just moved. I'm struggling with working and building my business. I'm getting better by the day. What do I suggest would help? Wake up earlier. Wake up earlier. Wake up earlier and work longer. And when I say it just like I mean it, sometimes when you're behind the 8 ball in your business and in your life, you're going to have to do you're going to have to push a little bit further. You're going to have to do things a little bit more. You're going to have to push a little bit harder. When you're facing resistance in your business, and you're going to have to call more people, right? So a person where I am in business might have to call 3 people to make multiple 6 figures take place. And that's because of branding. And that's because of positioning. And that's because of experience. And that's because of the market perception. But if you're just starting and you're unknown, to make multiple 6 figures take place, you're going to have to grind hard. And what grinding hard looked like for me in the beginning was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 2, after going to sleep at 10, sometimes 11, and hitting it from there. You will get paid in the daylight hours by what you do in the twilight. So you got to study, you got to learn, you have to invest time and money into your own head before you can be valuable in the marketplace. And right now, your life and your business and your finances is just feedback. It's not permanent, it's feedback. So look at the feedback that you're getting and determine how many hours you spend working on your craft and turn it up. So that's my advice. Number 2, Kimberly Fowler says, yesterday I learned to attach my name to what I do or what I want and what I want to be known for. She says she got it. Phenomenal. Good work. Then she says, how important is my website and marketing material? So again, Kimberly and everybody out there on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, there's self-perception, and then there's how the market perceives you. 2 diametrically opposed phenomenons. One of them matters for real. One of them is nice to have. So one of them is qualitative, the other one is quantitative. The qualitative is how we view ourselves, how we self-perceive. It's good to see ourselves as valuable. It's good to say, I charge 6 figures for consulting. It's good to say, I'll never work for $20,000 or anything less. That's great. It's great to have confidence, but you've got to match that confidence with competence. And the competence, no matter what you think, no matter what you know, the competence and the value, as we were speaking to earlier, Junior, is always like beauty in the eye of the beholder. In the eye of the beholder. Let me give you an example. You feel phenomenal about yourself. You feel absolutely great about yourself, but you keep going into the world and you get bad results. Oh, I'll give you a real good. Beautiful woman, super attractive, gorgeous woman, goes into a relationship where she is undervalued, gets berated, talked down to, doesn't feel good, learns how to feel unpretty. Now, unpretty is the self-perception. So now when she approaches new relationships, she approaches it from a disempowered place, a disempowered perception. However, we know that we train people how to treat us when they meet us based on how we treat ourselves. So it becomes, again, a choice of how do you view yourself for real? I didn't start making money in business, real money, until I put money into my website and marketing materials. That's just my real experience. I made money, but I didn't make substantial money, and I wasn't able to scale because enough people weren't viewing me, Kimberly. And I can remember I went through a phase, like every entrepreneur goes through a phase. So the phase was, I need to save money. I had an employee mentality. I had an entrepreneurial business, but an employee mentality. So my employee mentality crippled my entrepreneurial business because my employee mentality said money is scarce. I get paid a specific amount. I need to save it, and I need to buy things for as cheap as possible and get things done efficiently and be frugal. That's the employee mentality. Save. A penny saved. A penny saved is still a penny. So I had a couple of pennies in the bank account, and I tried to put pennies into my website and just get something done that would be sufficient. And every time it was just meagerly, barely sufficient. It actually looked terrible. It wasn't functional. It didn't rank. It had no SEO. The pictures were not quality because I wasn't willing to invest in them, because I viewed myself as this employee guy. Very important. So I tried to save money. Because I tried to save money, I did save money, but I stopped myself from growing because I wasn't pouring money into my business and I didn't have a phenomenal website. So when people came and saw me, they were like, and they went to work with the Titans, who looked phenomenal. They had 4 seasons. I had, a 3-star hotel, if that. So a person who respects themselves doesn't go to sleep in a 3-star hotel. It's not possible. You're not going to go to a 3-star hotel, 2-star hotel. The only kind of clients you're going to get in there are problem clients. So Kimberly, if you want problem clients, go the cheap route. However, if you want to have a phenomenal business, like a phenomenal life, you want to invest high value so that you receive high value. And then you'll be surprised who comes through your door and the kind of prices that they're willing to pay. Perception is everything, and it will affect our self-perception. So again, if someone's not treating you right, you leave the situation. But if someone's not perceiving you right, you change what they perceive. So if you're getting ghosted in the marketplace, it might be the way that you're setting yourself up. If someone doesn't appreciate you, if they have a depreciative perspective on your value, maybe there's some things you need to tweak and pop about your house and how you present yourself. And that's all website, and that's all marketing material. As soon as I invested thousands of dollars into my website, I got tens and then hundreds of thousands of dollars. And people finally recognize the value that I always had. I hope that answers your question.
All right, Sean, we're actually due for another break. So let's go to that break, and then when we come back,
time is moving. Time is moving. Let's go. Listen, guys, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I hope that was sufficient, Kimberly. I hope that was sufficient, Queen A. I hope you guys are getting value out there. Share this out. Share this with your people. Ask a provocative question. Challenge the coach. Ask a provocative question, and we'll be right back. I'm just a kid from Harlem who God chose to show his favor. Themselves while improving the.
I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
Hey, Junior, can you hear me? Am I being heard right now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So Kimberly says, should I just randomly send proposals to companies offering my services? And a lot of you guys are probably, I know we're being watched on LinkedIn, Twitter. I know you're probably thinking those things. Should I just send proposals, send proposals, send proposals? She says, I'm a human resources. She says HRS. So yes. She says, I'm a human resource HRS with a master's seeking clients, speaking on retirement mindset and the emotional side. Come on, Kimberly. Now, I told Kimberly, I said, stick around until later. And when this call is over, and I'm going to go deep with her and let her know what's going on because, and this is why she asked the website question. She asked the website question because she's probably not positioned effectively. And when you're positioned, when you're positioned ineffectively and you don't feel phenomenal, it's hard for you to present confidently. It's hard for you to feel confident when you don't look up to par. And we all know this. I've been there. I remember telling my wife, and this is a true story, in my 6th grade graduation, I was the only one there with the brown suit. We were poor, guys. People don't know my story like that. I say I come from Harlem, but you don't really understand. When I say the old Harlem, I mean the old Harlem. My aunt had to come to Harlem and get me a suit for me to graduate from the 6th grade. And that suit was itchy and scratchy. That joint was like this color, right? And everybody had on blue and black. You know, everybody wears blue and black on a graduation. Well, bless her soul, my aunt came from Yonkers and took me and my mother shopping. I got some probably hand-me-down shoes. They were clunky, had hard bottoms. Everybody else had penny loafers. And the color of my suit was like this. And it was itchy and scratchy, which means it was like wool. Not like this, right? It was like wool. And it was hot like fire. And you know, you graduate in June. So I'm on the bus sweating. And when I get off the bus and I see the sea of blue and the sea of black, I was like, oh my God, man. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And I didn't feel very confident, even though I graduated near the top of my class. So when we were together, I was a little bit shrunken. I made my suit look a little bit bigger because I kind of tried to hide in my suit. So if you're not looking phenomenal in your website, if you're not looking phenomenal online in your marketing, then you're not going to be able to confidently reflect your competence. I had all the competence in the world, but my positioning was off. And because my positioning was off, it was hard for me to promote myself. Does that make sense? It was hard for me to, speak to the young ladies like I was who I was. And this is what happens, guys. A lot of times we don't know who we are. We don't have a clue who we are. I'm the same person I was then. I just changed my positioning. I changed my positioning. And once I changed my positioning, it was easy for me to promote. I was able to speak to my wife the way I spoke to my wife confidently because I knew I was competent, but I also was positioned. I was also positioned. And that goes when you get older. When you get older, it's a little bit easier because you're more humble. You fall victim to peer pressure less. However, those old situations do pop up. Anytime I see a blue suit, a brown suit, it triggers me. I promise you, I don't have a brown suit in my closet. You've never seen me in a brown suit. And it's because I'm triggered, because I remember. I remember. So, Kimberly, to your point, oh man, no, you don't need to randomly send proposals when you position yourself correctly. Now, watch, this is the beautiful part. Listen, when I position myself correctly, my wife came to me and said hello to me. Now, I chased her after that, but she initially came to me. When you position yourself correctly, you don't have to chase clients and you don't have to just randomly send proposals. When you position yourself correctly, your clients will come to you and you will just wake up with your appointment book filled. That's how it works. When you become magnetic in the marketplace, you attract your ideal client and you repel your unideal client. I call it the woo-saw. Right? I call it the woo-saw, like karate, like kung fu. So when you position yourself correctly, you bring in the right ideal client who knows your prices are high, who can pay it, who understands your value, and you saw or you push away the unideal client. So you woo-saw. Just a little bit of humor for the morning. But yeah, I hope that works. I promise you, I hope that works. Let's go.
Yeah, we have a question from Coach B.
Okay.
So Coach B says, did you hire a web designer or buy into a prepared marketing kit like 10X?
I love the question. I hired a web designer. I hired a web designer because I have my own brand and I want my brand to resonate. So watch this. This is a beautiful question. How it grows, right? How it grows. I probably started with a template, and that's probably why it didn't work. I probably started with a template in some agency with a template. As a matter of fact, I remember, I won't name the name of the company, but I remember them. It was traumatizing. As a matter of fact, it was traumatizing. I did have an agency, and I'm sure they used a template. They just put my content in there, my colors in there, my copy in there. But because I was just starting, it wasn't hard to take advantage of me. And it wasn't hard to make me think that a Honda Accord was a Maybach, right? So I was, extremely happy because I had a website finally, and I thought it looked good because I was playing with ego and arrogance, and it was my face on there. And a person just loved to see the appearance of their own face, but it wasn't phenomenal. It was flat. It wasn't phenomenal. It was fabricated. It didn't work. It was broken too. The SEO didn't work. It didn't rank at all ever, and we didn't get one client from it. That was the template space, the agency space. And then as I evolved in my business, I brought someone in. I brought in a professional. Thank you so much. I brought in a professional. And when I brought in a professional who had done the work that I needed done, my entire life changed. My entire life changed. My business changed. My understanding of business changed. My self-perception changed, and the market's perception of me changed. because I had a website that didn't look like anyone else's. When I say brand you, I mean that. When you brand you and not what you do, you don't look like anyone else. You don't talk like anyone else. You don't position yourself like anyone else. So your website can't look like everyone else's. And it can't look the same on the back end either. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about the coding and the backlinks and all that stuff. If you're choosing a template from a templated agency, then they make 1 million of them all in one batch, and you got the same thing everybody else does, either on the front end or on the back end. When I brought in a web designer and I spent mid 4 to 5 figures. Now we're way beyond multiple 5 figures, but I spent maybe $5,000 to $10,000 around there for my first website that was a website. That website brought me hundreds of thousands. And then I was able to invest tens of thousands and make 7 figures. That's kind of the way the game is played. You put in the high value and you put a 0 behind your number and outcome. So if you want to determine what you're going to get for your marketing materials and what you do, you try to put in $1 and get out 2. And if you try to put in 1,000, you try to get out 2. If you try to put in 10, you pull out 20. If you try to push in 100, you get 200. And watch this, it becomes exponential. So if you're good at it, it becomes the point where you put in 10,000 and get out 200. But you got to build your brand. You got to build your brand. You got to build your market perception and your own confidence. People will never pay you what you don't feel like you're worth. And that's why I say that you train people how to treat you when they meet you by how you treat yourself. So treat yourself to a phenomenal website. It's 2023. So what I did now, what I learned to do, because this is the beautiful thing, right? I had a lot of clients and I told my clients exactly what they needed to do. And they went to Fiverr. And I love Fiverr. I ain't got nothing against Fiverr. They went to Fiverr and they went to Upwork and they went to different places where they found commodities. They found people who charged low prices. So they learned from me. They learned luxury from me, guys, me, the king of branding. They came and they spent a high number to learn high value from me. And then they turned around and took the value that I gave them and tried to give it to somebody and pay $5 to make it work. And it never worked. It never worked. It always fell flat. And then they tried to, they would turn around and say, well, Sean, I did what you said. And I said, no. You did not do what I said. You took the concept that I gave you and you gave it to someone who didn't understand the context. All websites are not created equal. All website designers are not created equal. All brands are not created equal. All logos are not created equal. All photographs are not created equal. So because it fell so many times, I said, you know what? They need help. So what I did was I created an internal agency. So now when people work with us to a high level, we do their website, we do their logo, we do their copy, and we do their photos. So they go see Mr. B on the back end in New York. They go see Mr. B. Mr. B does the photography. We give their stuff to Julian. Julian does their logo. We give their stuff to Cassandra. Cassandra does the website. These are a couple people on the inside. Junior does the copy. Like I had to keep all that stuff in-house because people kept going and trying to get this stuff done. They tried to, you know what happened? Guys, they ended up with Frankenstein. That's what happened. They ended up with a Frankenstein. They tried to stitch these different pieces together. And it wasn't a symphony. It didn't play together well. It didn't play together well. The pH balance was off because the person might know how to create a website statistically, but they didn't know how to brand phenomenally. So it didn't mesh. The message got twisted. They might have known how to code, but they didn't know sales psychology. So because it looked good on the front end, it still didn't do the job, because the job is not just to look good. The job is to look good, but it's to convert. You have an ideal outcome when you create this from the beginning. You got to know what the end result is. And the end result is not likes. The end result is not likes. The end result is luxury. The end result is freedom. The end result is clients. The end result is being able to give your value to clients who understand your worth and they see it from the website. They see it from a distance. Think about when you see the Hollywood sign. Think about when you go to a mall and you see the Nike store sign. There's a difference. There's a difference. When it comes to branding, it's everything. And you have to appreciate the value that you present to the marketplace by appreciating the value that you put into yourself first. Nobody just opens a store and says, come by until they finish the interior decorating. So we decided to have our own in-house design agency. So we make sure that when you come through us, you look like $1 million. Look like $1 million, make $1 million.
Yes, sir. Do you have any other questions on IG?
Whew. I think we gave it to him, didn't we? I think we
might be due for one more break.
Yeah.
When we come back, let's get one more. Let's get final questions and then close for the morning.
Yeah. Stick around, Kimberly. We're gonna take care of you. We got you, no problem at all. And you guys too, right? Listen, if you're listening to this and your website and your marketing is hurt and you twisted and you know it's time to turn up, drop something in the comments. Let us know, like hit us up, because we're not just doing this phenomenal stuff for me. It's not about me, it's about we. It's not about me, it's about we. We put meaningfulness over money, we put people over profit, and we put value over valuation. So all the phenomenal things you see taking place over here with this brand, we'll make them happen for you too. Let's go to a commercial. Thank you very much.
It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to... I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. I said Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause.
We'll be able to do the same thing for you. Very important. let's get to it. Yes. So guys, if you saw that little collage of video before we shifted back and before we brought us back, right? You see me there with a t-shirt on and a fitted cap, right? And I wanted to put that up just so you could see it, so you can understand I wasn't always branded the way that I'm branded now. And when I positioned myself as such, I received an as such response. But when I shifted my positioning and turned up the caliber a little bit, the numbers changed, the money changed, the clients changed. Go ahead, Junior, take us out of here.
Yes, sir. Well, I just want to not stress the fact, but just want to remind the people of the Leadership Live Deep Dive at 5, Sean. So tell them a little bit about that. And if you do, is it possible to drop the link or put up the banner somewhere here on the screen?
No problem, guys. So listen, every Saturday at 5 p.m., Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard, we are doing a live deep dive, a leadership live deep dive with yours truly, right? So we are going to be live, and it's not going to be us speaking to you. It's going to be you inside with us, where you're able to answer questions, ask questions, and get them answered by us directly. So it's more relatable. It's more personable. It's on the back end, right? So you guys got questions and you need them answered, and you might not be getting the right answers from the people that you work with. That's not that. What we will do is we will give you the right answers, and we will give them to you directly on the Leadership Live Deep Dive at 5. So you can just go to livedeepdive.com and register for it, and you'll be on the back end with myself, Junior Frederick, a few more members of our staff, our team, our phenomenal community on Saturday evenings at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Yes, sir.
Don't miss it.
Let's
If
go.
you have any opportunity, don't miss it, guys. We will see you tomorrow. Same brand time, same brand channel. Let's grow.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.